Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir, I'm not.
Yeah. Can you read that an introduction to spatial epidemiology is the first slide.
So your screen is not visible. So that means you're
No,
No,
seeing.
sir,
not
can't
visible,
see.
sir.
Okay. One minute. Now can you see the screen? Yes. Can everyone see the screen? Yes. Can everyone see the screen?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not visible.
No, sir.
No, so it's black. Yeah.
Okay. Now it is visible.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's begin. So this is going to be the first lecture. This is Introduction to Spatial Epidemiology. Okay, so once again, myself, Dr. Nitin Dubdale. I am Assistant Professor at the Department of Community Medicine, Goa Medical College. And many of you have met me. Okay, I request to mute your mic so that there are no additional disturbances. Okay, so we met, I think some of you have met me during FECon 2023 at Goa Medical College. So my academic background, I am MD in community medicine, plus I have done Master of Applied Science in Spatial Analysis from the Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins University. I completed this degree in May 2020. So the outline of today's lecture will be trying to understand why we have made a group. So we have WhatsApp group, and then we are now getting connected to each other. So what is the purpose of this? And then we are going to see one example of a popular map in public health. Then we learn what is cartography, what is GIS, in brief, spatial epidemiology, what is the focus of spatial epidemiology, what is the need for spatial epidemiology, what is disease mapping in spatial epi, disease clustering in spatial epi, and also what is ecological analysis, environmental exposures, disaster management, how it can help, some information about what are the various GIS softwares available, what is flow of spatial epidemiology, types of spatial data used in spatial epidemiology, and what are the steps involved in spatial epi analysis, types of clustering, usefulness of GIS, and the sequence of conducting GIS in health-related events. Okay, so we have made a group, which you all are, most of you are part of it. Okay, so what is the purpose of that group? So the importance of that group is to create a group of professionals who have interest in learning and practicing spatial epidemiology, okay, as their research work. So this is a group dedicated to scientists who want to work in spatial epidemiology and make it as their research field. So at the moment, we have lots of postgraduate students in community medicine, and also we have lot of professionals who are already working in spatial analysis. They have immense academic as well as research experience in working with the spatial data. Okay, so they will be helping us to conduct. They will take class, online class, and we might have offline workshops. So they have promised to help all of us to attain our goal. And some of them are interested in collaborating. So you will have opportunity to work on their research areas of interest. So you can join with them and help them in data collection, as well as understand how spatial epidemiology studies are conducted. So these are the main some of the goals, and the ultimate goal is to have an association of spatial epidemiologists in the long run. So maybe in near future we'll have an association of spatial epidemiologists. So with that backdrop, let us go straight into our topic for the day. So can anyone tell me what is this map of? This is a very famous, popular map. Yes, anyone can attempt, even if you're wrong, no problem.
John
Spot
Snow.
of Jon Snow, cholera.
Yeah,
Yes, Jon Snow's scholar.
yeah. So this is a Jon Snow's map which he created about deaths in London due to cholera. So this is a map he created after doing the study. So he collected data and then he mapped. You can see these lines. These lines are the number of deaths. So this is the broad street. Okay, here is the broad street, and here is the pump. Okay, and these are the number of deaths which are occurring around this broad street. Okay, so this whole area is having quite number of deaths. So he came up with a theory, that hypothesis, that the cholera is transmitted through water. Before that, it was considered that water is not the culprit; it is something else. Okay, so he proved that cholera is a waterborne disease. So this map was kind of important uh, to uh, to reveal that cholera is a waterborne disease. The moment he removed the handle of this pump, the number of deaths reduced drastically. So that was a confirmation that that the water was a source of cholera. So now you can see here in this is the broad street. Okay, and here is the pump. Okay, the pump, water pump, broad street pump. So he removed the handle of this pump, and these are the deaths. These are the number of deaths occurring in the houses nearby the pump. Okay, so so this is the 3D GIS depiction of same Jon Snow's maps. Okay, so he is Mr. John. Okay, Dr. Jon Snow, and a plaque is there in the memory of his hard work which he did, and how he removed the handle of the pump, and it prevented many more deaths. So maps have been used in public health from long time. Okay, in 1700s. Okay, in 1964, a map was made in Italy with regards to plague outbreak. Okay, so here comes Jon Snow. Okay, map of cholera in London, okay, 1850. So like that, the maps have been used. And in 1989, HIV map was made, and in 2004, AIDS in United States was mapped. So map has been very important tool for epidemiologists to depict how the disease is spread across a location. So what is cartography? Can anybody tell me what is cartography? What do you understand by cartography? Okay, at the end of the class, we are going to have a quiz. I will send you a link. In that link, you will have both a quiz as well as feedback. Yes, can anyone tell me what is cartography?
Art of making
Drawing
maps.
maps.
Yes. Okay, so it's a study and practice of making geographical maps. Okay, so is it enough to have just maps, just to create maps? It's very impressive to make maps. When I studied at John Hopkins, I was highly impressed when my teacher showed how they make maps. But that's enough, you think? Just creating maps is enough for us? Okay, just creating
Making
maps.
sense out of the maps.
Yes, exactly. Okay, just having maps. Maps are made not by doctors; they have made by geographers. Okay, so just making maps doesn't help. We have to see how it is relevant to epidemiology, how it is uh, connected to the epidemiology. So it is definitely connected with epidemiology, because in epidemiology we study the time, place, and person relationship. So the place is the part which is answered by creating maps. So where of the epidemiology, the question, where is the disease, is the question answered by the maps or geography. So the place part of epidemiology is answered by making maps. So where is the disease located, and what are the factors responsible for the spread or the confinement of that particular disease is what we are interested in. So this is a map which I had created with the help of ArcGIS. So how it looks, is it impressive? Okay, so it looks very nice, very impressive map of Goa, but just having a map is of no use. Okay, so we have to have something in this map. So suppose there are some dots here, it makes more sense than having a plain map. Okay, so it could be dots, it could be shaded areas. Okay, so these are the various forms by which the data is represented on the map. Okay, so this is a choropleth map which tells us about the prevalence of hypertension in men. Okay, so the data is coming from NHS 5, and from this you can easily come to know which are the states with high prevalence. Okay, so the highest is, okay, you can see this is a legend. So this side is a high prevalence, and this is a low prevalence, light blue and the darkest blue or the purple. So you can easily come to know Punjab is first, okay, then Arunachal Pradesh, Kerala is there, Manipur is there, Sikkim is there. Okay, so I think Sikkim is the first one. Okay, so these are the dark places. So you can easily come to know where are the hypertensives located. So this is the one of the important function of uh, spatial epidemiology. So in spatial epidemiology, GIS has very important role. So what is GIS? GIS is geographical information science or system, because some people call it science, some people call it system. Okay, so most people call it system. So GIS is geographical information system. So it's a subset of geography. Okay, so geography, it is a discipline developed by in geography, and we as a public health experts, we are using that functionality for our purposes. So GIS is a powerful tool for collecting, storing, retrieving and transforming and displaying spatial data, okay, from the real world. So we collect, we store it, we transform it, and we produce it in the form of maps, and then do the analysis to draw some inferences. So what is spatial epidemiology? Anyone knows? Many of you gave excellent answers in my Google form. So can anyone try tonight? Are you there? Anyone is there?
Place analysis, sir.
Yes, wonderful. Anybody else would like to? Anybody else would like to attempt?
Analysis of geographic variations in disease.
Yes, excellent. So spatial meaning something which is occupying space. Okay. So like spatial distribution of population, meaning how the population is distributed over a geographic location. So spatial epidemiology is description and analysis of geographic variation in disease with respect to demographic, environmental, behavioral, social, economic, genetic, and infectious risk factors. Okay, so we are interested in studying how the disease is distributed, or its geographic distribution of the disease or health event with respect to various risk factors. Okay, so we are interested in the distribution, as well as we are also interested in what are the other factors which are responsible for the for such spatial distribution of the disease. So this is a definition given by Professor Paul Elliott from Imperial College of London, and he is the author of this book, Spatial Epidemiology, and he's one of the editors of that book. So he's a renowned spatial epidemiologist. So what is the focus of spatial epidemiology? Okay, so we have two focus. We want to study this geographic or spatial distribution of health outcomes. So it could be disease or any other event with the help of GIS and by generating maps. And second focus is using spatial statistics, okay, for the analysis of spatial epidemiological data. So that helps in the form of we use GIS softwares, as well as you can use our program or any other program to do the analysis. So we have two focus, that is to study the geographical distribution or spatial distribution of health disease, and also to do the analysis of this data to draw some inferences. Okay, this study was published in January 2023 about how many publications were there, how many studies across the India in various states. So some of the states it says nil. Okay, so I don't know, you can see your state and how many publications are done. Tamil Nadu, maximum publication, okay, 36 to 42 in 12 years. Okay, but in Goa, it says nil. But actually, there was one study which was done. So you can, from this image, you can see that there is a lot of scope for doing many more studies. Okay, so Tamil Nadu is leading. Okay, and West Bengal is second leading. Third are Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, okay, and then followed by others. So there is a lot of scope for doing studies in GIS in public health. So that's why we need to create awareness of this specialty, and we have to build the capacity of the PGs in doing this kind of studies. So this is one of the study which is done by some of our, this Dr. Tripathi is in our group now, and he's going to help us. And Dr. Kapurkar is my boss, and this Dr. Kodros was my student. Okay, and this Dr. Oliveira also was our student. So they did this study of the geospatial clustering and seasonal trend and forecasting of KFD in Goa. Okay, from 2015 to 2018. So this was a wonderful study which was published in this Tropical Medical Health journal in 2020. So there was one publication which that guy missed. Anyway, sometimes it can happen, but they did wonderful study. This is a area level aggregation of the KFD cases. So you can see that in the northern part of Goa, there were clustering of cases which started in 2015 and which increased in 2016. Okay. Okay. So you can see here clustering of cases in 2016 it increased, 2017 it spread, and 2018 it reduced drastically. So because of the efforts of vaccination with regards to KFD. Okay. So they here also they did a nice analysis of hotspots, that is 15 and more, and the core spots are where there is a very low incidence of KFD. So why do we need epidemiology? What is the need? Is there any need? Yeah. What do you feel? Why we need spatial epidemiology? Can't we be happy with our, the general epidemiology? Can anybody speak out? Yes.
To find the exposure of a population.
Yes. Very good. Okay. We can, with the help of spatial epidemiology, we can understand the time and space dimensions of the disease. Okay. So what do we mean by that? We can understand the time trend of the disease occurrence and where it is happening. Okay, when it is happening, okay, the when part of it, okay, and where, okay, so where it is happening. So these are the two questions which we can answer with the help of spatial epidemiology. So disease occurrence, okay, disease occurrence, the time and space, they intersect. Okay, and that is what we want to pick up by using spatial epidemiology. So time and geographic location of the patient can provide us information about the temporal, that is a time period, and the spatial labeling of the event. Okay, so we can understand when it is happening and where it is happening. Okay, so these are the two questions which can be understood when we use spatial epidemiology. So space-time variation of the disease incident, okay, points to the ecological cues, and it will give us some idea about what is causing the occurrence and spread of this disease in terms of time and space. So it helps us to make better public health decisions based on the information and the inferences we get from this data. Okay, like this study is a example of breast cancer incidences in southern Karnataka. So there is a kind of a clustering in the the south east part of the southern Karnataka between 2007 and 12. So why is there is a clustering of cases in the southern east part of the Karnataka, southern Karnataka, is a question that we need to find answers to. So in this image, you can see the red dots are the built up area. Okay, these are the built up area, meaning the houses, buildings and this is a map of Delhi. So in 1918, you can see the built up area is kind of focused in this portion, but by 2014, it has spread quite wide. Okay, so this is a spatio-temporal kind of depiction of urban growth in Delhi. Okay, and by 2024, they are forecasting that it is going to be quite a lot urban growth. So this is how we can understand and see the time and the location of the events, and also we can do forecasting with the help of these maps. So this is a TB preventive treatment among eligible children under 5 years in 2017. So this is a WHO map showing how the TB preventive treatment is taken up by various countries. So disease mapping is very important in spatial epidemiology. So, so it provides visual cues. Okay, it provides us with visual understanding of disease etiology. So if there is some clustering happening in a particular area, it can tell us and point us that there is some environmental exposure which is happening. That's why the disease is occurring at the same time in similar, environment. So there could be some environmental factor which is responsible for the occurrence of this disease. So GIS plays important role in environmental epidemiology. So does it play important role in spatial epidemiology? So it helps in identification of the potential health problem. Okay, so initial identification of the potential health problem can be obtained by use of GIS in public health. So many times the GIS is used for making maps in environmental epidemiology, and in spatial epidemiology also we need GIS to help us to understand the where question. Okay, and it helps us in to consider the geographic foundation for the public health. So it will help us to understand where is the health problem located. So if you see this, this is a map of the climatic exposures. Okay, climatic exposures by multiple climatic events which have taken place in the country. So this is a map example of how the disease mapping helps us. This is a very famous WHO COVID-19 dashboard, and it showed how the COVID-19 was spreading across. Okay, so this was like darkest blue. Okay, Russia and then USA. Okay, so this was quite well known how this COVID picture was changing rapidly over the period of time. So this is a wonderful use of GIS in public health. Now there is another concept in spatial epidemiology which is called as disease clustering. Anyone knows what is disease clustering? Yes.
Several cases after one particular place.
Yeah, several cases. I didn't get the second part of your answer.
Several cases occur at one particular place.
Yes. Yeah. Almost correct. Okay. So one of the important function of spatial epidemiology is the detection of disease cluster. Okay. So disease cluster is important part of spatial epidemiology. So it provides us cues that it's a problem. Okay, it tells us that it is a epidemiologic problem because there is a disease clustering happening. So what is disease clustering? So it refers to unusual aggregation of the disease. Okay, so unusual occurrence or excess occurrence of disease. Unusual. Okay, it is not usual. Usual is the endemic part of it, but unusual is the epidemic or pandemic part of it. So unusual aggregation. why so many cases are occurring in a particular location tells us that there is a problem, and we need to find what are the factors which are responsible and what we can do about it. Okay, so cluster detection is very important part of spatial epidemiology. So there are two types of a disease cluster. It could be general or focus. So general meaning it just tells us that there is a kind of disease, a lot of cases occurring in a particular part form of disease cluster detection, and it is just gives us kind of descriptive understanding. Okay, in the southern eastern part of South Karnataka, there are a lot of cancer of breast cases. So that is like a just description. It also allows us to uh, you know uh, get some statistical clustering. Okay, so it tells us, it allows us to ask the question, is the spatial pattern of this disease X is statistically clustered? Okay, so we use some statistics to say that there is a evidence that there is a statistical clustering of the cases is happening. So we use different statistics to come to that conclusion. In the focus clustering, we ask, is it space, just a spatial kind of clustering, or it is spatio-temporal clustering? Okay, so whether it is only limited to space, or it is involves both space and time factors. So that is more focused clustering. So there are two types of clustering. So it gives us kind of a clue that to help us to understand and define the location for study in future, and also there could be some environmental risk factors which are involved, because of which there is a clustering happening. So in this example, the red dots are the mapped leprosy index cases from 2014 to 2022. So you can see this is the location in Uttar Pradesh, that is a Fatehpur, and here is Chandauli, and the red dots are all leprosy cases. Okay, so we want to know whether there is a clustering which is happening. So this is the example of this is called contextualized clustering, and there is a statistical clustering. Okay, so statistical clustering will be the generalized kind of clustering, and there will be a refined clustering, which is the focus clustering. Okay, so you may not understand the whole thing what I'm saying, but I'm just giving you kind of a introduction to what are the various kinds of analysis which happens in spatial epidemiology. And over the course, as we dive more deeper into it, you will be able to have a better understanding. So in case you are not able to understand everything, don't worry about it. Okay, this is just an introduction, just to give you a taste of what is spatial epidemiology. There is another concept called as ecological analysis in spatial analysis. So it provides kind of etiologic relationship between the spatial disease distribution and explanatory factor. Meaning we want to understand this distribution which is there in terms of space, whether there are it is because of certain factors. So they are called as explanatory factors or the variables, and we study them and we try to understand which are the factors which are more associated with that. So for that we use a lot of regression techniques like linear regression or multiple regression, linear regression, or the logistic regressions and other things. And also geographic correlation studies also fall in this category. So we want to find out whether it's the environment which is responsible, whether there are some socio-demographic indicators which are associated with this, or it is lifestyle factors. These are some of the factors which are mentioned here. There are many more which can be associated or responsible for that particular spatial distribution of the disease. Okay, so we take help of a lot of specialized spatial statistics to find the association between the exposure and the disease. Okay, so these are another kind of ecological analysis that we have. So it tries to find the association between the disease distribution and the explanatory factors, or the risk factors or ecological factors. So this is a study which is showing the various dots are the places where they did sampling for drug resistance tuberculosis. Okay? And then they studied the various factors like health surveys, health expenditure, dots effect, so various factors, and then they have mapped the disease by taking these various factors. Okay? And they have produced a lot of various impressive maps which give us different information. Then there is there's something called a geographic exposure modeling. So this gives idea of some exposure which is happening in the environment. Okay, so we already spoken about it. So we kind of get more detailed information of what could be there in the environment, which is leading to the occurrence of a particular disease. Okay, so this application of exposure modeling is used, and especially very important in the environment epidemiology. Okay, so trying to find out the various exposure assessment. Like in this study, they use exposure of particular matter in the mining area. So in the air, there were a lot of particulate matter, and they try to study what are the, how much is the level and what is it causing to the people. So this was one of the study done in, I think somewhere Uttar Pradesh in 2021. Then the spatial epidemiology GIS can be used immediately after following a disaster. So in disaster management, GIS is quite frequently used to assess the damage which has taken place, and also for the future planning it can be used. It can be used to study the morbidity and mortality rates due to a particular disaster. Also, it helps in finding out what are the environmental conditions which are prevalent, what are the transportation available, and what is the distance to the health clinics and other variables. So GIS can help us to respond to the disaster and to plan for the future disaster. So this is a kind of a graphic representation of which disasters and how it can help us. So there are two activities which are very important in spatial epidemiology. One is to make maps. Okay, so with the help of GIS softwares, we get the spatial data, various files, and create maps of a particular area. And then we do analytical part, that is asking questions on the maps and data. Okay, so there are two parts. Only making maps is not our job, okay, but it's very important function. But asking questions and finding out answers on maps and the data is what we have to learn. Okay, so we have to learn GIS, and we have to learn how to ask questions and get answers for that. So we know GIS. Anyone knows GIS, how it works, how it is done? Anybody has done any project in GIS? work with GIS? Okay, GIS has various layers. Okay, so this is upside down. So actually, this is the bottom, and this is the top layer here. Okay, so when we do GIS, we use various layers. So this could be the base layer. Then could be the elevations, which shows the topography. Then we can use another layer of buildings. Then there is another layer of streets, and there is another layer of boundaries, maybe of district, state, village, and then water bodies. Layer can be added, and last is your data. Okay, whatever data you are going to import and analyze. So these are various layers which are used, and then we create the map, and then we analyze it. Okay, so these are the steps which involved. So we decide what software we're going to use for data for GIS. Then we create, or we can get collect the information. Okay, we can create the data by collecting information, or we can use existing data, spatial data. Okay, so this spatial and geographic data is gathered, and it is organized, managed, it is pruned, it is kind of if we need some modification, we do it so that we can use it in our GIS and then do the analysis, and then we visualize it in the GIS software, display it. Okay, display the data on the map, and then ask questions about it. So these are some of the softwares. ArcGIS Pro, which is from Esri, is available from 1970. GeoMedia, these are the, this I have never used. I have used ArcGIS, but these are other which are available. I have taken this information from this software, which is updated in somewhere October 2023. Then there are some free GIS softwares like QGIS and Geoda. Okay, so these are freely available, open source, and this is older version of QGIS. There is a GRASS GIS, which is developed by CDC in USA, which is also free, and these are others which are free, but I have never used them. I have seen GRASS and I have seen QGIS. So we can collect the data, we can collect the health data, and when this health data coupled with the location coordinates, then it becomes a spatial or geographic data. So we collect latitude and longitude of the the location. We can have the address of the health event, and that when it is attached to the data, it becomes spatial data. And with the help of this data, we can plot the data on the map. So it will show where exactly the health event has taken place. And sometimes we don't use the exact location. We plot it at the aggregate level. So we aggregate it to the level of say village or district or a particular location. So this helps us to generate thematic maps or choropleth maps we can generate with the aggregate data. So this is a point pattern you can see here. So these red dots are the landslide areas in Goa. This is one of the study which is published. Okay, and the green dots are the non-landslide areas. So this is a example of point pattern. Then this aggregate level data I told you, like in this you can see there is a aggregate data here. These are the various villages where the cases were found in 2015, 2016, it increased, 2017 it spread further, and 2018 it came down. So these are aggregate level data display. Then this GIS data can be displayed in the form of vector model. Okay, So vector model uses point, okay? It uses point or it uses a line, okay? So point will be like location of the patient, line will be like a street, or we use polygons, okay? So it depicts a village or building or whatever it is, okay? So these are the various ways the data is visualized. But the raster model, there is something called a raster model. It uses grid cells, okay? So it uses grid cell. So grid cells, and with that the data is displayed. So from here you will be able to make out. Okay, so this is a vector. Okay, this is the real world. There is a pond, there is a forest, and there is a land. And the vector you can make out that this is the land, this is a river or whatever street, and lake is there, and the forest is there. But raster uses a grid kind of thing, so it looks little pixel type of information. Okay, so just giving you a gist of how the data are displayed in various forms. So this is a point pattern here. Okay, this is the point pattern. This is the lines. Okay, and these are the polygons which are used in vector model. Okay, so this is how the spatial epidemiology works. So there's a data which is collected, and then data is visualized in GIS with the help of GIS software, and then we do the various analysis part of it. So various types of data can be used, like we can use health and disease data, like we can use vital statistic, notifiable disease, and a lot of information we can use. We can use field epidemiology data, survey data can be used, and we collect the location with the help of GPS. And also we can use spatially reference data, uh, like government data, which is available, digital data that can be used for our purposes. And remotely sensed data, which is used by geographers, like land cover, elevation, soil type. These are quite freely available right now. Other data like land use and water quality, air quality. So these are all essential data which we need to use. Even the census data, we need to use it. So this becomes very, very important. So this data we need to keep handy, and that is going to help us to make our GIS analysis. Okay, so this is one of the study example where they did a study of ARI prevalence. So you can see how beautiful the maps are, and they are showing us the prevalence of ARI in the country. And then they run some tests, and then they depict the normalized ARI prevalence, the ARI hotspots. They have, the hotspots is in the northern part of the country, and there are 4 spots of ARI. Okay, so these are the states which are having very low prevalence of ARI. Then the particulate matter in the air, they have shown here. The population density is shown here. So wonderful maps can be generated with the help of the spatial data. Okay, so use of clean cooking fuel improves sanitation, diarrhea, illiteracy. So everything ARI, they are trying to find correlation with the other factors. Then the tobacco consumption they have used, and the ARI. Okay, so various ways we can display our results. Okay, so spatial epidemiology, we have so many analytical functions. Like we can do a lot of measurements, we can do use the topography, we can use network and local analysis, we can use surface analysis, then various statistical analysis can be used. Okay, so we are not going to go into details of them. It will be dealt maybe in future. The various clusterings are available. And there is something called as temporal clustering, that is access of cases in a specific time period. Okay, so it tells us about a seasonal pattern of the disease. Then we have spatial clustering, access of cases at a specific location. So it tells us about the unusual pattern of the disease in a study area. So the disease spread over a particular location. Then you can have combination of both space and time. The cases are clustered both in space and time. So like outbreak of infectious disease or a chronic disease like cancer, because of some localized exposure which is happening and leading to similar cases occurring at a specific location at specific time. So there is an interaction which occurs of nearby cases are occurring at the same time. Okay, so GIS helps us a lot in spatial epidemiology to construct our maps and do the data entry and to do some statistical techniques. This is our QGIS software, and this is a very old software which has not been used. Geoda is another GIS freely available. So these are the various steps how we can use our spatial epidemiology with the help of GIS. Like first thing is you have to have your research question with you. So for example, what is the correlation between asthma and low income? So what is the location where you want to do? What is the study area? Say example, you want to do it in Goa. Okay, so that is the second step. The third step is what data you need to do your study and what formats it has to be. So we need these shape files from the state with the district level or taluka level or village level, buildings, roads, coastlines. So all these files we need so that we can map our data. Other data we need is it could be coming from government or private data. So what kind of data which is available that we need to know and how it is collected, what coordinate or projection system they are using, that is also important. Whether the data is ready to use or we need to prune the data, that has to be kept in mind. Whether we need to convert the data to different format, whether we need to do something called as georeferencing is very important. Whether we need to add something or remove some feature, that also becomes very important. So the step 4 is what additional data you need, whether you need some hospital records, clinical data, census data. So that data also need to be obtained. Then example, disease count, date of discharge, disease code, so other data needs to be obtained. And do you have addresses of the data is very important. Sometimes we don't use exact data location, we use surrogate locations. So this is to prevent to ensure confidentiality. So we take data, the location of workplace or play school or other addresses, because sometimes it is breach of confidence if we are sharing the location of the patient. So any standardization we need to do, we have to look into that. Okay, so various standardization adjustment we do to see that the data is properly formatted. Next step is which software you need to use, that you have to understand which will suit your needs. Where you need to do geocoding or address matching is something important in GIS functionality, which is required. And how would you do the georeferencing, geocoding to the point or building or street block is important. And what kind of other analysis you have to do, you have to decide first. Okay, and then disease clustering we do. So there are a lot of steps which are involved. I'm going a little faster because our time is getting over. So which kind of analysis we have to do? We have to do a thought, give a thought to it, whether it is area aggregation, neighborhood analysis, spatial autocorrelation, all those we have to think about. Okay, and whether you're going to do the project your data in point based or aggregated level, that also you have to think about. Okay, so we do disease mapping either in the point or area of aggregation. We do spatial autocorrelation, that is statistical tests, geostatistical tests we can do, which are inbuilt in GIS software. So various ways we can, use the data, but we have to make sure that the patient's locations are treated very sensitively, because that's something very confidential. Something called as spatial autocorrelation we use, and spatial autocorrelation is present, we say, when the neighboring areas are alike. Okay, then we say there is a positive autocorrelation present. Negative autocorrelation when the neighboring areas are unlike. So this is one of the ways how the interpretation is done. Okay, so autocorrelation is present when the neighboring areas, okay, whichever area is affected, say this area is affected, if this neighboring areas are similar to the affected areas, then it is considered, okay, this is affected area, and the test is done whether these surrounding areas are similar to this area, then it is a positive autocorrelation. If the surrounding areas are not like unlike the area which is affected, then it is a negative spatial autocorrelation. Okay, so there is something called as Moran's eye and all. So that we'll learn maybe in future. This is some maps which I had created immediately after my my course. So this is depicting the HIV in Goa in 2019 and 2020. So you can see that the HIV has become spatial distribution has reduced, but certain areas have, like this area has remained same. Okay, but other areas have become less. The incidence went down. So that's a good news for us. So in summary, so spatial epidemiology is an established discipline. There's nothing new about it. It is there. Only thing we are coming in contact with that recently. So there is ample scope to do more in spatial epidemiology for all of us. So we need to create awareness about spatial epidemiology, and we need to build capacity of the young researchers in spatial epidemiology. And there's a lots of opportunity for young public health specialists to advance their career in spatial epidemiology. Okay. So after this, what is next? So next Saturday, we are expecting our Dr. Anil Yedge, who is assistant professor at Parvati Department of Geography, Parvati Bai Chogule College of Arts and Science in Goa. So he will be taking this class on geospatial technology for mapping. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.